Opening quotation.
Thirty seconds used. A minute used. A minute 30 used.
Diary of a Wimpy Kid. One of my favorite movies growing up, but specifically because of Greg Heffley. He is genuinely a terrible friend, but he also is trying too hard to be popular. He's basically an outcast, and nobody really likes being an outcast. Well, this reminded me of the quotation that I received today. I am America, I am the part you won't recognize. Muhammad Ali, American boxer and activist. I interpreted this to mean that this is me and no one has the ability to change that. Well, the reason I believe this is because you are you and no one can do anything about it. I do agree with this interpretation, and we'll look at this through 3 different examples. First, an activist who was silenced. Second, a movie character from The Greatest Showman. Before finally, a pop icon who some people love, some people hate. So to start with, an activist who was silenced. Anne Frank. Now, the story of Anne Frank is very sad, but the main thing about it is that she decided to write in her diary about what was happening. Now, if you don't know what I'm referring to, a pretty big deal, the Holocaust. What happened in this was so detrimental to so many people, including Anne Frank. Her and her family were forced to live in an attic, and with this, she decided to write her own diary. And after it was found, it was then published and sent across the entire world. This is showing that even though she was silenced, she still continued to make sure that people would understand what had happened. And nobody could change her mind or change anything about her from writing in this diary. Next, we'll look at it through a Greatest Showman character, specifically Zendaya's character, Anne Wheeler. Now, in this movie, it's all about being an outcast. People singing, people in the circus, and that's what the movie is based on, is taking all these random, interesting people and turning them into a circus show, which has its, ethical considerations, but specifically looking at Zendaya's character, Anne, she is put through so much throughout this movie, and she ends up finding love with randomly Zac Efron's character. I know, kind of weird, but in this, she continues to have her pink hair, continues to do her tricks and everything without all this pushback from the community around her. She continues to push through and fight and states that nobody can change who she is. This is who she was meant to be. And even though her boyfriend's parents don't like her, she doesn't let that change her. She continues to be her and stay true to her values. Next, we'll look at it through a pop icon. Taylor Swift. I'm sure most of you know who Taylor Swift is. Now, started as a small town country singer and is now going on an Eras tour throughout all of her different albums. She has millions of fans worldwide, sells out entire theaters wherever she goes for her concerts. And even if you don't like Taylor Swift, you can't deny that she has continued to stay true to who she is no matter what happened. No matter how many paparazzis and gossip blogs talked about all those boyfriends that she had. No matter how many people continue to say her music sucks. Well, if her music sucks, then she wouldn't have so many followers. But the biggest thing about Taylor Swift is that even through everything that has been thrown at her, even from her not even owning her own music, she continued to push through and show people that you can be whoever you want to be and you can continue to grow. And this is directly tying back to the fact that this is her and nobody can change who she is. So today, we received the quotation, "I'm America, I'm the part you won't recognize," Muhammad Ali, all-American boxer and activist. The way I decided to interpret this quotation was, this is me and no one can change. I do agree with this interpretation, and we looked at this through 3 different examples. First, Anne Frank, who was silenced way too young for just being who she was. And even in all that chaos, she never let it change her. Second, Anne Wheeler, Zendaya's character in The Greatest Showman. Even when all the people around her thought she was too everything, she continued to stay true, even when her boyfriend was not loving it at times. She didn't let that change her. And finally, Taylor Swift, who has been a pop icon for years, and no matter how much backlash is thrown at her, she continues to strive. So if you ever feel like Greg Heffley, just know you might succeed.